This is my rig for panfish. This actually works for smallmouth and everything else too, some really big fish. But it's just a little ice fishing jig or a fly. And because it's so light, I need to put a bobber on there so that I can get it out in the water. And these little wing it bobbers or any little pencil bobber works real good for that because it cuts through the wind and you get a good cast. It's good for catching bait for larger fish too. Other nice thing about this rig is when I put this bobber on here, I used a little piece of 1/4-inch aquarium tubing or any type of flexible plastic tubing, 1/4-inch, and I put that on in place of the spring, because those little springs on these bobbers, they'll ruin your line, and a lot of times I lose fish. So put these little pieces of tubing on there, and I can slide the bobber up and down to adjust my depth in the water. And this, when you're fishing for crappies and stuff and bluegill, that's pretty important because usually the bigger ones are at a certain depth, and I can adjust this from 1 foot all the way to 8-10 feet if I want. Works really good. It doesn't cause any harm to your fishing line, and you can pretty much use it with just about any type of pencil bobber. That 1/4-inch tubing fits really good. Just a little trick for rigging up your bobber. Alright guys, I showed you that rig for the slip bobber with that piece of 1/4-inch tubing. All you have to do, for reference, this is just a regular spring pencil bobber. Just tear that spring off of there. What happens for me is a lot of times I find these laying on the shore and that spring's worn out. I don't like that spring. Like I told you, it tears up your line. And if you tear that spring off, put that piece of 1/4-inch tubing on there and you have a really good slip bobber. The other nice thing is when you're ready to go, you can just slide the bobber down and hook it to your rod to carry, rather than having a big old 6-foot hank of line hanging down from your bobber. That's been a real good tip for fishing for me. I mean, once I learned that, I started seriously cleaning up on panfish, because it's all about getting to the right depth for the bigger fish.